So today we've got a really nice masculine card that of course will be suitable for Father's Day, but also things like retirement, maybe even a promotion, things of that nature. And it's a little suit and tie sort of card with a little bit of dimension, and it's going to go together real quick actually. I've already sort of pre-inked my project here. So this is the base of the card. Okay, we've got score lines here, and then we're gonna fold this part here just like so, okay? And then we have the little insert, the white part, the shirt, so to speak, that starts off like this, and then you're gonna wanna fold the collar in like so, okay? And the first thing we're gonna do is we're gonna glue this right to the inside of the card itself, the base of the card, I should say. So let's do that. Let's get our glue on this piece here. Now I went ahead and I inked the actual suit with a nice blue color, and then I did the same with the shirt. I did that in a light blue. And you don't want to put any glue on the actual collar part that's sticking out. Now I'm focusing my attention here on the top here where the actual collar is, making sure that that's nice and flush and centered. Okay, and then also making sure that I've got this nice and centered as well. Okay, just kind of watch for those folds and just make sure that each side of the little jacket folds in nicely. Okay, and then once we have that in place, we can kind of press down and just make sure that this is sitting nice and flush. Okay. All right, now on the inside of the card, we do have some panels, and they're going to go in just like this. We're going to have a nice even border all the way around this piece here. So let's get that glued into place. All right, get our glue on here. And get that nice and centered. Just make sure you've got a nice even border all the way around. And you got plenty of room in here for writing a little message, stamping, whatever you want to do. And depending on how many kids, got plenty of room for signatures on either side actually. And then you can write a little sentiment in the center. So got plenty of room for writing. Okay, just go really easy on the glue for the inside here, not too thick because sometimes it will show through or warp, and we don't want that. Okay, get that nice and centered, nice even border all the way around, and just press. Okay, so there you have that, and that's coming together very nicely. Okay, so this part's gonna look a little weird because I made a boo-boo and I'm going back and I'm fixing it. So don't worry about stuff that looks like I kind of skipped ahead. We'll get to it. I messed up putting this on because what I did was I put this here and then I put this on top of it. Okay, we don't want that. What we want to do is we want to glue this to the little guides there, and then we're going to put the other piece on top. Okay, so grab this piece, the pattern piece, and match it up with the little score mark indicators there, and glue that down first. Okay, and once you have this part down, then we can take this piece that goes on top and glue that to the base, the very bottom of the previous piece that we just put on. You want to make sure that the little tick marks there, the little stitch marks, are up at the top of that piece, not towards the bottom. And just get that lined up nicely. And there we go. And that is the correct way of doing that. If you're using this for Father's Day, we've got this little ribbon here, this #1 dad ribbon. I'm going to start with the largest piece here, the actual prize ribbon. And I'm going to get my glue here onto just the part, the round part here with the scallops. And I'm going to take my white piece and just match it up with the existing scallops there. Get that nice and centered and press that down. Okay. And the next piece that we want to put down is our little gold piece. Now you'll notice that there's a little square cut out of it. You want that square to be, well, you want it to be so that the straight edges are horizontal and that the, well, this is not the straight edges. It's a square, obviously. You want it to look like a square. You don't want it to look like a diamond. Okay, that's the best way I can explain it. And you want it to be on the left because that is the little cutout for the pound sign or the number sign. Okay, so let's get that aligned so that that little square is on the left and it looks like a square and not a diamond, just like that. And then we can take the last piece here, the actual number 1 part. I'm just going to do a few dots on this. It's kind of a little bit of a smaller little piece here. You don't want to overdo it on the glue. And you want to get that little square lined up with the center of that pound sign, just like that. Okay, so there's your number 1 prize ribbon. First place dad. Okay. All right. Now you'll notice that there are a series of little score marks on here as well to help you with the placement of this piece here so that we get it nice and accurately set. Now also, if you want, you can take and kind of train this a little bit just to kind of have it flare out. Give it a little bit of dimension. And I'm only going to put glue on the top part and not on the actual ribbon portion. Okay, so that's that. And again, using the little guides there, go ahead and position that nicely so that it's nice and vertical. That looks great. Okay. And you know what? We could actually, the collar of the suit, I'm going to take and I'm going to put a few zots on here. And actually, you know what? Before I do that, let me grab a pen here. So we're going to do I'm going to fill in the little score marks. And now what I'm doing, just to kind of test the color, is I'm using just a scrap piece of the same color, and I'm trying out a couple different markers to see what I think is going to look best. And I kind of like the boldness of the darker color, so I'm going to go with that. And this is a pretty straightforward exercise. All we're doing is just drawing on top of the little score marks that are already there to kind of give the impression that those are little stitches. Okay. So you want to do that in all the little sections that have the little score marks, and they are alongside here. And I did a little bit of inking, so it sometimes can be a little hard to see. You can always fill in a few extras too. There's no rule against that. And pardon my head for just a moment while I do this. It's a little bit more difficult to do this on camera because I have to kind of put it away from me a little bit, but you can see how nice of an appearance that gives it. Okay, so we're going to do the same thing on the other side here. And then also, there are some lines there on the collar as well. And I'm just going to start up here because it's a little bit easier to see these. And I think with the collar, I'm going to use a little bit of a different color, I think. And now see, I couldn't see some of those. Maybe because the machine didn't score them as deeply, but I'm just kind of improvising and filling in the little gaps there because ultimately it's going to look good either way. Okay, so you see how nice that looks. Okay, so we can grab our, I'm just going to grab a little foam square. I think one will do. If not, we can always, before I take the backing off of it, I'm just going to get a feel for how that looks, and I think that's going to be good enough. So let me freak you guys out a little bit. It's my X-Acto blade. Get the backing off of this thing. And press that down into place. There we go. And there we go. Okay, so the suit is pretty much done. There are a couple buttons that we're going to add here in just a moment. I am kind of going, erratically putting this thing together. Just follow my flow here. Okay, now I may go with the lighter blue on the white because I don't know if I want it to be as deep. Yeah, I'm going with the lighter blue on the white. On the collar, there are, again, some little score marks on here so that you can draw in the little seams, or the stitches, I should say. Just like that. And just follow the little score marks there. It's a lot easier to see on the white. Just like that. Okay. So all that's left is to put some buttons down as well as our tie. Okay, but first things first, let's get our tie in place. And I went ahead and I inked this thing as well. Now you'll notice that on this white piece there's a series of little score marks to help you with the alignment of our little tie here, and I believe that that is pretty much how we want it to look. Again, just make sure that it's nice and even, nice and straight up and down. So let's get this piece in place and make sure I'm not forgetting anything so I don't have to backtrack or recut anything. I think that's about right. Okay, I'm going to hold it from the center here, somewhere in the center, and get that nice and aligned. I'd say that looks pretty good. Get it nice and centered, drop it, and then take a look at the bottom. Just make sure that it's nice and straight. There we go. Okay, there's our tie. And we have a second layer that goes right on top there, just to kind of give the illusion of the actual section where you would tie the tie. Tie on the tie. Okay, and that's going to just go right on top of the other piece, right in that same spot. Just make sure that you've got it nice and lined up. There we go. Okay, and at this point we can go ahead and bring the collar in, and we're also going to zot that. So I'm going to grab, let me make sure I'm not forgetting anything. Nope, that looks good. Put a little foam square right there, and another little foam square right there. We'll peel this off. Okay, and just bring that in, make sure it's nice and centered, just like that. There we go. Look at that. Very cool. So, card is almost complete here. All that's left to do is throw a little flower on there and a set of buttons. So in your cutout, you'll have, well, what look like 4 buttons, 2 large, 2 small. And what we're going to do, let me grab my pick-me-up tool. We're going to put a little bit of glue on the back of the small one and just glue it to the large one. We're just kind of creating a dimensional look and feel for our button here. And do your best to just kind of line up the holes there. Just like that. Grab my other one. Throw a little bit of glue on it and just line that up. This is a really handy little tool for working with small pieces. Perfect, okay. And then on the front of the suit here, there's a series of little score marks to help you with the placement of the final button that we just created. And I want the holes of the button to be, to have a horizontal orientation. Get that nice and centered there. Grab my other one, whoops. Throw a little dot of glue on the back of that. Don't need a lot, it's a really small piece. Okay, again, try to make sure that you've got a horizontal orientation on the little buttonholes. You just give it a little nudge if you need to adjust it ever so slightly. Okay, and there you go. Card is almost done. Got a little flower that I'm going to put a pearl on, and I just took it and I kind of cupped it a little bit just to kind of give it a little bit of dimension. It may eventually kind of flatten out once it's in the envelope, obviously, but you know how we go around here. We want to try to make sure that we get it all and just get that centered there. And I'm just going to press that down. Again, take a look at the final photo. I'm going to jazz this up a little bit with some pearls here and there just to kind of finish it off. But that is our cute little card, nice and dimensional, very functional, lots of room for whatever it is you want to write. And of course, card wouldn't be complete without a matching envelope, which we have here. And oh, you know what? I forgot something. Whoops. We've got this little, I forget what these are called. I don't wear a lot of ties. Lucky me. Oh, I forget what they're called. Anyway, there's two little diamonds, and you're going to glue one on top of the other. There's also a little, there is a little score mark guide to help you with the placement of that. Oh geez, this thing's out of control. And then the other diamond is going to go right on top of the original diamond. Okay, so there you go. Now onto the envelope. Very simple. All right, so we've got the envelope itself. I already folded everything at the score marks. It's going to fold like this. The two side flaps are going to go in first, then this is going to go in. So we can actually glue that down real quick. Just a nice thin line. Don't go too heavy on this. For some reason, I always tend to warp my envelopes. I think it's because the lines, I just make them too heavy, and you never see me do this to kind of flatten it out a little bit. You don't need a lot, okay? And then you can take this part here, just fold it up, and then just press and hold that for just a moment while it sets. Okay, and then we just need to put the little complementary color piece for the flap in place here, and this is going to be kind of sticking out like this. It's going to give it a really nice look. So what we want to do is we want to put our glue on the actual flap itself, not on the blue piece, because if we put it on the blue piece, we're not going to know where not to put it so that we don't get it inside of the little sunglass section here. Okay, so do that. Grab a couple of dots here in the center of our shades. That ought to do it. And then just line this up. You can kind of flip this up if you want, and then just kind of push it up against where that seam is. And then just fold it over, just like so. And I need to nudge mine a little bit. Well, that didn't work very well, did it? Jeez, Leo. What are you doing? There we go. I may need to re-glue that. We'll see. It's okay. Mistakes happen. I'm not going to edit that out. There we go. Okay, and then we do have two little gold pieces. All right, now you can see, because I messed up with the glue, these little pieces here, they're sticking up, but hey, we got a fix for that. Just throw a little bit of glue on a scrap piece of paper, tuck it under there, just paint that glue on there nice and thin, press down, bam, problem solved. And I'm gonna thin that out. I don't want that much on there. Just raise it up, lift it up, paint a little bit of glue, maybe wipe off a little excess, and press, and bam. Okay, now finally, these little gold pieces here, you want to get those centered on the little eyeglasses, and then the little piece that's kind of sticking off to the left, you want that to be flush with the edge there. So I'll glue that down, and then you can kind of take a look at how I have it positioned, just to get the idea there. Okay, get it nice and centered. Should have a nice even border around the frame of the shades. And just like that. Okay, let's take a look at that. Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, it'll do it. So that pretty much wraps it up. I'm gonna do the same thing on this side here for the other side of the shade. Try to get that lined up so that it's in line with the other side. Maybe if you got it up a little bit too high on one side, you may as well just kind of match it on the other side, and then it'll look good. So there's our envelope. Here's our super cute card. And you can see how nicely that will fit into our envelope, ready for delivery or mailing. And that's it. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button on YouTube. That lets me know that you enjoy hanging and crafting with me. And if you make this or any of the items from our For the Guys bundle, we'd love to see it. So join us in the official group on Facebook by doing a search for Dreaming Tree Group. You can join myself and the 11,500 members that inspire us daily. So thanks again for hanging out with me, and I look forward to crafting with you again.
Stay on top of all things Dreaming Tree and engage with us today. Get the latest news and enter in our giveaways on Facebook. Get inspired by following us on Pinterest. Be the first to see our new product launches on Instagram. Do you prefer Twitter? Yep, we're there too. Watch our beautiful product trailers and assembly tutorials on YouTube. For more information, visit www.3dsvg.com. Live, craft, love, and dream.